Hello and welcome to the CNBC TV 18 special. We're coming to you from the Wipro Lounge at Davos in conversation with the CEO of Wipro, Abidali Neemuchwala. I'm Shereen Bhan. Abid, appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. One of the big uncertainties that Indian IT is faced with is what the Trump presidency will mean in terms of H-1B visas. I think there is now sort of peace that's been made within the industry that visa costs are going to be higher. Whether there are other changes that are brought in as far as L1 and H-1B visas are concerned is the big question. What could the potential impact be, for the industry, for Wipro, if we see a much more stringent regime? Again,
as Wipro and as an industry, as a participant of NASSCOM, we've clearly said there are two flanks to it. One is we just want to have a level playing field as an industry and as a company, like any company would expect in any market. And we're working with NASSCOM and the government of India on that. And the second part is how, as a company, we mitigate our risks that we see. And we feel very comfortable. We've been localizing, we've been hiring in the US and various other markets. Diversity is a part of our strategy, and kind of hiring locally helps with driving diversity. So there is a cost impact, but I think, we've had cost impacts in other parts earlier of our business. For example, the inflation that we have in India and the regular annual increases we give, and at least for Wipro, I can speak that we have the resilience.
What are the levers that you're specifically going to exercise to be able to achieve that margin number specifically? Because, again, if you talk to your peers, there's automation, there's higher utilization and so on and so forth. But what specifically is the strategy to that 23% number?
So one is the traditional levers, which services industries have always had: utilization, offshoring, all of that stuff. And we will continue to maintain to kind of tweak those levers and continue to work on them. But there are then other levers, which is the business mix, the services that we will provide. Now, digital is coming at a premium price that we deliver to them. So that creates both a pricing advantage and a margin advantage. Then areas of consultative selling and consulting where, artificial intelligence-based automation, where we are able to deliver at a cost point which is quite different. Our ability to take platform-based services, which is more IP embedded in what we do. All of this enables us to drive a higher level of margin.
What are you seeing right now as far as the ability to, as you said, people were holding back spending? Are you seeing that mood change now, given the fact that at least in the US, the elections are over and done with? In the UK, Theresa May today has said that, it's all or nothing. There's going to be no sort of halfway house as far as the Brexit option is concerned. How are you seeing this impact decision-making?
I think right now it's still wait and watch. Again, this is a short-term question, so I'd avoid answering it directly. But I think clear policy direction is yet to evolve. And once we see that, we're very hopeful that customers will resume spending.
So in terms of the big risks that you see over the next 12 to 18 months, outside of the geopolitical uncertainty, what would you quantify as the big risks for you today?
I think our ability to transform our workforce into the new technologies and the new requirements that the customers have, the speed of this transformation is faster than any of the other transformations that I have seen, at least in my 25 years in this industry. And hence our ability to respond to that. The organizations which respond fast enough. For example, we've got a crowdsourcing platform on which there are 23,000 Wiproites and 1.4 million developers across the globe. The way of working in that crowdsourced environment is very different from the traditional way of working. So these are massive changes in the industry. And I think we're in the forefront of some of these changes because of the bold moves we've made in terms of investment in areas of AI and others, or acquisitions in areas of crowdsourcing or cloud and other.
I want to ask you much more of a sort of general question about the state of the Indian IT industry. And I guess we're at that point again where a lot of obituaries are being written about the IT services model and about individual companies and how many will survive through this massive disruption that you're seeing. What's your own take? So do you expect a massive shake-up?
I'm an optimist. There'll be a level of consolidation which always happens when an industry undergoes transformation. But I think our industry is very resilient. Our industry has seen evolutions earlier, and I think we will come out winners in this as well. Especially I can talk of Wipro, the kind of investments that we are making and what our customers are seeing as being very relevant for them to perceive us as a partner of the future who will bring value in the future. I think that's most important, and I think we're on a path where we think we'll be very successful in the future.
So you believe that Wipro will be very successful because you made the right choices and some bold choices as well. But, do you really think that,
I would say
that the pecking order will change significantly?
As I said, whenever the industry is transforming, there is a certain level of I would say reorganization that happens in the industry, but in general, the Indian IT industry will come out as a winner. Both, while I'm very optimistic about Wipro, I'm also equally optimistic about the industry as a whole.
You're perhaps one of the most optimistic that I've heard in the past few months representing the Indian IT industry. But, I want to talk to you before we close on the 6 key themes that you had articulated in order for you to be able to achieve that 2020 target. One, of course, was going digital, which you've already done, and perhaps we'll see you build on that. Improve client mining, capture opportunities in major markets, non-linearity, hyper-automation, and building a healthy partner ecosystem. If I were to ask you where you stand on all of these 6 sort of metrics that you've laid out for yourself, where do you believe you need to do the most amount of work?
So every quarter, I kind of report back during our earnings statement. So I'll just request you to wait for our earnings statement next week when I'll give you another update on where we are. But just on a general basis, I think we're executing with discipline in each one of our strategic levers. And I feel very upbeat about it because the teams are energized, they're motivated, customers like that, so they're accepting. Even when we go for proof of concepts and pilots in some of the newer areas which we have historically not done, we find the customers welcoming us, almost expecting us to be proactive about it. So overall, the execution on the strategic levers has been very comforting for me.
Can I ask you a question about your previous organization now with Chandra moving to the chairmanship of Tata Sons and Rajesh taking over as CEO? What do you make of that?
I wish Chandra all the best. I think he's a great leader, and he's got a role that he deserves the most. So I wish him all the best.